Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to the Packernet Podcast. I am your host and resident fanalist, as always, Ryan Schlip. Check us out online, packernet.com. Find me on Twitter, pack_data. Well, we went from lots of news right back to no news, and it's probably going to be that way for a little bit of a while, pending some kind of a big breakthrough story. That might be part of the reason why it feels like some people are pushing there to be big stories. And I'd love to play along, but I don't really see a story. First of all, the big one, Jaire Alexander. And this is always a good one. I wish we were, maybe somebody is, or just somebody with a really good memory can reach out, 608-501-0718. How many times do we see people post things, whether it be on X or Instagram, where it's kind of like, what do they mean by that? And they actually meant something, and then it actually came true. I would guess we've seen it dozens of times, and the answer has to be somewhere close to 0 times does it mean anything whatsoever. Jaire posted on, I believe, Instagram. It was kind of cheesy. It was a picture of himself, I think, on a boat, with some really low quality graphic dollar bills falling. And then at the end, it showed him in a Packers jersey, but I don't know if that was just like moving on to the next thing. You know, how I don't know, freaking know how Instagram works, but they got like the stories or whatever, and it goes to the next. I don't know if it just flipped to that, or, you know, a lot of people want to believe that's part of the message. Like, I got a lot of money to stay a Packer. Like, okay. I would guess, of the list of things that it could be, number one, meaning he's trying to signal to us that a deal got done and he got paid, which is not impossible. We know that they're working on a deal. Any kind of restructure generally will put some money in Jaire's pocket. Although, again, overall, the idea would be that the contract comes down a little bit overall. Number two, he's trolling, which we've seen certainly more trolling than we have seen of actual news. We know Devontae and Rodgers love to do that. Post stuff because they know it's going to get a rise out of people, and there's no substance to it whatsoever. Or three, it means absolutely nothing whatsoever. It's Instagram. It's a cool picture of me on a boat. His name is Ja Money. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, dude. It's like, there I am, Ja Money on a boat. What's up? And that's it. It literally means nothing. If I had to guess, I would lean pretty heavily toward the it means nothing. Slight chance that it's a troll. Even smaller chance that he's trying to signal to us that something big is coming. I guess we'll find out. I mean, again, I do expect there to be... I guess I shouldn't even say that. I'm having a hard time expecting anything at this point. The amount of vacillation between... he's coming back or he's leaving, and he's coming back, he's leaving. It's absolutely out of control. Obviously, the most recent report made it seem like Jaire staying, although, again, as I told you, it didn't really say that. It just said the Packers had offered him something, and Jaire does want to stay, and you would assume that that would mean that something gets done, but not necessarily. Well, Matt Schneidman quote tweeted himself and said, "Story on the new Jaire developments from story? Yeah, okay." He goes on to say, "There's still a chance the Packers release him if they can't agree on a restructure, but he plans to report soon, even without a resolution on his future." There's also a lot of speculation from different people, and I haven't dug enough into it. I believe Clayton and the boys had been talking about it. Again, I didn't quite catch the full thing in terms of like what and I've seen other people kind of allude to things like this, but there's a thought that maybe Jaire coming back is not necessarily a positive, that like, oh, he's definitely going to be here, but it's more of a pushing the Packers, right? Pushing them to either, you know, get this deal done or let me go, because I'm just going to keep showing. I don't know. I don't know what the heck is going on. I don't know what's going to happen. I would have to assume, again, if it's true that he really does want to be a Packer, as opposed to he's willing to, although it's not his preference, and the Packers really want him here and really did offer and are seriously trying to get a deal done, a deal's going to get done. If that's the case. But I don't know. Either way, social media is abuzz because Jaire posted a video of himself. And again, this is there music here? I don't mean to play. No, there's no music. it's such a weird, like, even the picture is incredibly low quality, but then you got the dollars that are falling, and it's like, what the heck is that? But I think we want it to be something a lot more than it is something. The other thing that, and again, I haven't heard anyone directly say anything, but it keeps popping up with people sort of alluding to a thing. Mercedes Lewis was talking to Kay Adams on Up and Adams. The main part here, the main substance, is that this is going to be his 20th season, and he said he's going into the season assuming it's going to be his final. He said, mentally, I'm going into it saying it's my last year. Obviously blessed to have 19 amazing years, and the journey's been great. The thing that has kind of Packer fans seemingly wondering a thing is when there was a question asked directly about him possibly being a Packer. I want to play what he said because maybe I misheard it. We'll listen to it again here.
Would you welcome a return to Lambeau?
Well, it's funny that you say that. I know that, that last year when I was there, it was close. They were close to bringing me back for another year before I signed with Chicago. But the direction that they were going was going to be young. And, obviously Matt is one of my best friends now. He FaceTimed me last week and we were kind of talking about it. And it's really out of his hands, and I understand the business side of it. I think that's another reason, like if you can kind of compartmentalize what you do well, understanding that this game is still a business and it's not necessarily personal, you'll always get the best out of yourself. And I've been able to understand that since I was in Jacksonville and, never necessarily let my feelings get in the way of the work that I put in, and the work always will show on the film. And that's really what I have complete control over is my attitude, my effort, regardless of where I am. And, it's just one of those things. I feel like it ended a little too soon in Green Bay. Obviously, guys were leaving. A-Rod left, Cobby. There was just guys just leaving from that team. My boy Devontae was going to Oakland and Vegas. So it was just a lot going on.
So, again, just on the off chance you come across people maybe alluding to the fact that he may be coming back. I don't know if you heard the same thing I did. It sounds very much to me like there's no way he would come back to Green Bay. He said that Matt LaFleur is one of his best friends, but it's out of his hands. Meaning Brian Gutekunst makes those decisions, and he is not going to make that decision. He spent the next 30 seconds talking about it's a business, and I understand that, et cetera, et cetera. So we'll see if Mercedes Lewis is going to be able to find a home for his final season. It's going to be tough. Not a lot of teams looking to play that style of football, and even if you are, Mercedes Lewis probably ain't that dude. He really has not been productive for quite a while. But all right, this is actually part 2 the next day. I didn't finish, obviously, so I apologize for not getting that out yesterday. Why don't we take a break? What I want to do when we come back, I just want to graze through a little bit of what we've been learning from the rest of the NFC North. There are a couple of interesting things. For the most part, I just want to make fun of Caleb Williams and the Bears, but this is a good excuse to do that. And the Vikings a little bit. Got some news today about the Vikings, so I'm looking forward to that. I want to talk a little bit about how the Vikings might be becoming Bears fans, and I am praying that is the case. But why don't we take a quick break? We'll come back and we'll get into it. So as per usual, the least interesting is the Detroit Lions because they just kind of are what they are. One of the things I wanted to go over, though, that I thought was kind of interesting, we know that last year there were a ton of injuries for them. Usually that's a big positive for the Lions because it's like, hey, we got all these guys coming back. It's crazy. With that said, though, not everybody's just coming back, right? I mean, it depends on the schedule and all that. So I want to start with that. The Lions started a day after us, so there's not a lot of Lions news, but the injury comebacks are kind of an important detail here. So Aiden Hutchinson, left tibia fibular fracture on October 2024. He's been cleared for action, expected to participate in OTAs, though potentially with some limitations as a precautionary measure. Participation level is being closely monitored with full involvement seen as a fantastic development. In other words, he should be full go by the start of the season. Now, Alim McNeill is a different story. He tore his right ACL in December of 2024. He is not expected to come back until about week 11. Linebacker Malcolm Rodriguez tore his right ACL November of 2024. So we probably won't have him back until the end of October-ish. Defensive end Marcus Davenport tore his had a left tricep rupture in September. So there's optimism that he's going to be good to go. Linebacker Derek Barnes, right knee MCL PCL in September of 2024. Barnes was observed with some right leg atrophy earlier in the offseason, but is expected to be ready for the season and might participate fully in OTAs. Defensive tackle Mekhi Wingo had a right knee meniscus injury in November of 2024. There's a lot of optimism that he's going to be ready to go. Defensive tackle Tyleik Williams had a hamstring strain March 2025, obviously. He was limited during rookie minicamp. I say obviously because he's a rookie. Rookie minicamp due to the hamstring issues, but he is expected to be doing better. Cornerback Khalil Dorsey, right tibia fibula fracture, December of 2024. Due to the timing of his injury, Dorsey is unlikely to undertake strenuous activities during OTAs, but has a chance to be ready for the start of the season. Cornerback Amik Robertson, left humerus fracture, good lord, January of 2025. Robertson's humerus is expected to be fully healed, and full participation in OTAs is anticipated, especially since there's no tackling. Three more. Defensive end Ahmed Hassanin, right ankle, December 2024. Rookie sixth rounder, played through an ankle issue in his final college game, but is believed to be fully recovered and should be full for OTA participation. Long snapper Pat O'Donnell had a calf injury in January 2025. He's expected to be okay. And then cornerback Ennis Rakestraw had a hamstring injury November 2024. He was nearing return for the playoffs, so everything should be okay for him. So, obviously, a lot of people expected back, but not everybody. There's some people still working through some stuff. We'll have to see with some of them, depending on if they're ready to go yet or not. Position battles for the Detroit Lions. Guard. With Kevin Zeitler's departure, a starting guard spot is open. Veteran Graham Glasgow and second-year lineman Christian Mahogany, who impressed in limited action last season, including a start, are prominent figures. Mahogany right now is considered by some to have a leg up for the starting role. They're also being pushed by rookies Tate Ratledge, who is a second-round pick. Remember, that was a big thing that they went for. Everybody went big in the trenches. Being pushed by rookies Tate Ratledge, who was a second-round pick, and Miles Frazier, who was a fifth-round pick, along with returning veterans Coyote Awasika and somebody else that's not going to win the job. There's also talk about, not super important to us, but the backup quarterback job, whether Hendon Hooker is going to get that or somebody else. I liked Hendon Hooker in college, but he was also a weird, tough sell because he's got injury issues and was already older. I know quarterbacks can play for a little bit longer, so maybe it's not as big of a deal, but see how that goes. Nothing else really super interesting. Similarly, safety depth and stuff of that nature. Let's move on to the Minnesota Vikings. I am excited about the Minnesota Vikings. So when I had Mr. AI help me gather some data here, it even says right here, 2025 OTA updates, McCarthy era begins. I have always, to some degree, praised Vikings fans for being very level-headed, possibly even more negative than they should be. I am noticing some very Justin Fields, Caleb Williams-y vibes coming from Vikings fans about McCarthy. Now, I don't know if this is going to be a continuing thing or how this is going to play out, but man, the hype about this guy, I'm starting to see, and every fan base probably has their troll accounts and whatnot, but I'm seeing things out there about J.J. McCarthy has thrown the most touchdowns of any quarterback in OTAs, which, first of all, nobody's tracking that, so you don't know that. Second of all, he's had more practices than a lot of other teams who just got started. Nobody is tracking OTA touchdowns. Nobody. There might be somebody on planet Earth that's trying to track publicly available OTAs, but for example, the Packers, I'm not even positive how many touchdowns Jordan Love threw. It might be 0 right now. I don't really know. As far as I know, they had one series where they actually drove down the field and they settled for a field goal. I don't know if there were other drills they did that could be considered touchdowns, but that's part of the issue. I feel so stupid even having to explain this when I know I don't have to. What kind of drills you do, whether it's, 50%, 10%, 100%, pads on, pads off, all these different things, on top of the fact that so many of these practices are not public, so they're behind. It's like he's thrown 12 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. How do you know he's thrown 0 interceptions? You mean 0 that you're aware of? On top of that, some teams started later than others, so there's been less opportunities. On top of that, you're an idiot. Now look, I'm going to hype some stuff up because it's fun, and I'm a fan, and I like it. And I'm going to make fun of guys like Caleb Williams when he throws a bunch of picks. I understand it's probably not that big of a deal. Aaron Rodgers used to throw a ton of picks because it was time, and Jordan too. And I think he kind of learned that from Rodgers. This is where you just let it go and see what happens. This is where you don't trust your coaches and you say, I don't know, dude, I think I can get it there. And then it gets picked off and you go, okay, coach was right. I can't get it there. I won't do that anymore. This is the time to push the envelope and see what you can get away with and what you can't. Again, I'm still going to make fun of Caleb and McCarthy and anybody else that I can because it's funny. And I'm hoping that a lot of the fans will understand that it's all in good fun and I'm not taking it seriously, but I'm sure I'm asking too much. But the point is, there is this groundswell coming from the Vikings that I haven't seen. I don't know how long it's been, but the excitement they have for this guy. There was just something recently where somebody had tagged me. I think it was Mr. Slap Happy Cookie Steve. I don't know. But it was a video of McCarthy throwing a touchdown. And essentially, the pocket collapsed. He would have got sacked, but the defense had to hold up. He steps up in the pocket really slowly, escapes the pocket, doesn't look super great doing it, and then throws kind of across the body, but he had plenty of time to kind of reset because nobody's chasing him, because it's OTAs. And he throws maybe a 10-yard pass to a wide open guy in the end zone. And it's like, most amazing play I've ever seen in my life. Oh, no, it was Clint. Clint sent it to me. Why is this not working right? Pack Rules, 1978. First day of OTA. See, this thing is freaking broken. Elon, fix it. Anyways, I can't click on it, but it's right here. J.J. McCarthy made the best play of any team's OTAs with this ridiculous touchdown. He has already piled up over 12 OTA touchdowns, the most in the NFL. None of that is real. Best play of any team's OTAs? It wasn't even a ridiculous throw. I mean, this play... Are you listening to that? I should have turned that off. It's not even good. Like, it seems slow and stupid. Nobody cares. Nobody's freaking out. It was a basic play. And again, he would have been sacked. But the bottom line is, I want it. I want it bad. I need it bad. I need Vikings fans to become Bears fans. I need that to happen. And then obviously for J.J. McCarthy to be bad and Vikings fans to make up a bunch of nonsense about it's the offensive line's fault, it's the receiver's fault somehow, it's the coach who he loves fault, it's everybody else's fault in the world except our beloved quarterback who can do nothing wrong and is the Messiah come down to transform our franchise forever and give us the Super Bowl that has so eluded us over all these decades. But that's just something to keep an eye on. It's possible that things go south and Vikings fans immediately jump off the ship. It's also possible that he ends up being good, in which case, then they're just acting properly. But I'm really hoping we go right down the middle, just right down the alley here, where dude is not playing well and Vikings fans are not willing to accept reality for what it is. I am just hoping, beyond hope, that is the way that things go. Also in Vikings news, went through the whole GM thing the other day, and I mentioned how Kwesi Adofo-Mensah is currently the worst drafting GM. I don't know why anybody would really try to fight that. I saw somebody say, yeah, but he does a good job in free agency. Haven't done a deep dive on that, but I've already mentioned several times how much I hate the strategy of let's keep bringing in 31-year-olds. I don't get it, especially when you're giving away all your draft picks, so you're not really drafting anyone, and your draft picks suck, and the people that you bring in are leaving soon because they're old. I don't really know what he's doing, but he got a big extension, so he'll be staying in Minnesota for some time now. He better hope J.J. McCarthy pans out, because if that's a miss, holy crap. Anyways, getting into a little bit of what we learned. Hilariously, the claim that he's thrown, 12 touchdowns and 0 interceptions is counteracted by reality. Early on-field moments have provided both learning opportunities and flashes of potential. On the very first snap of 7-on-7 periods to the open media, McCarthy's pass intended for Justin Jefferson was tipped by cornerback Byron Murphy Jr. and intercepted by linebacker Ivan Pace Jr. So, first play was a pick. But no, 12 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, obviously. But that is obviously the biggest thing that everybody's looking at with OTAs for the Vikings fans and beyond. Everybody wants to know how he's doing. Outside of that, just like the rest of the NFC North, there's questions about the offensive line. They've invested considerable resources in remaking the offensive line. OTAs are providing the first look. New center Ryan Kelly is manning that position. First-round draft pick Donovan Jennings has been working at left guard. Blake Brandell, who started at left guard in 2024, has shifted to right guard. Free agent addition Will Fries, who's projected to start at right guard, is currently recovering from a broken leg suffered last season. Brian O'Neill is at his customary right tackle position, with Christian Darrisaw recovering from a knee injury sustained in Week 8 of last season. Veteran newcomer Justin Skule has been taking reps at the left tackle spot with the first offensive line grouping. So, again, similar to the Lions, similar to the Packers, there's a bunch of additions along the trenches, and it's got to kind of sort itself out a little bit. Also for the Vikings, defensive newcomers and scheme evolution. Under defensive coordinator Brian Flores, the Vikings defense continues to evolve. Several new additions are being integrated. Newly acquired defensive tackles Jonathan Allen and Javon Hargrave are beginning to build on their on-field partnership. Veteran cornerback Jeff Okudah has been actively involved in coverage, lining up opposite Byron Murphy Jr. in 7-on-7 drills. Despite all these groups, so far there's been some pretty smooth communication, group speed, etc., etc. Standout player so far seems to be linebacker Ivan Pace. Made significant impact, continues to make his presence felt. Got that pick on McCarthy, obviously. Also managed to knock the ball out before running back Aaron Jones could secure the catch during an 11-on-11 action. Offensive side, Justin Jefferson still looking great. Jordan Addison being listed as a standout in OTAs. Hawkinson looking good, etc., etc. I will say, just reading through some of this stuff, you can definitely tell as far as the McCarthy thing is concerned, he's still in the very early stages of learning. He's in the very early stages of understanding the offensive system and scheme. He's in the very early stages of getting into a rhythm with his guys. There's a lot of talk about, building those kinds of relationships and whatnot. Kevin O'Connell says you can't measure the importance of these reps with the receivers. Today was a little bit more decisive than yesterday. Friday will be the same, and there'll be growth and growth. Justin Jefferson, talking about McCarthy, said he's got that swag about him. I love how he's willing to take shots. I told him, if you see me one-on-one, give me a chance, and he's starting to do it. We're building that trust. He's still in the building stages. He might be great. I'm not saying he's not. I'm just saying it's really early to start crowning him anything. He's got some work to do to get to wherever his full potential is. He ain't there yet. All right, finally, I want to make fun of the Bears because there's two things I find hilarious. We'll do serious stuff and talk about, all the other goodies. They started on May 20th, the OTAs, so there's that. But anyways, defense is looking great out there. Bears defense has flashed early. Safety Jaquan Brisker, back from a late 2024 concussion, provided a spark with an interception he returned for a big gain in recent OTA practice. Linebacker Tremaine Edmonds also snagged a pick off of Caleb Williams, firing up the defense. There was a tweet put out by Justin Cohen, former editor at Sports Illustrated, NFLA member, NFL insider, the bad boys of Scoop. I don't know how legit this guy is. I don't care. Report, Bears quarterback Caleb Williams threw 6 interceptions during 7-on-7s today. Then we've got Zach Pearson. Zach Pearson is a legit Bears reporter covering the Bears for Bear Report as part of 24/7 Sports, member of PFWA Writers, UNC Writer, Tar Heels Wire, etc., etc. Not a strong day for the first-team offense. Williams was picked off twice, both over the middle. Tremaine Edmonds made a nice play and got the interception. Later on, he was picked off by Jaquan Brisker, might have been tipped. Caleb did make a nice throw in 6-on-7 drill, later rolling to the left and hit Miles Boykin deep. Hilarious. The constant refrain is, yeah, he threw a ton of picks, but otherwise he looks great. He's looking real good. Threw a couple touchdowns, completed a pass to Cole Kmet, who is not the guy we drafted. He's the other guy, but that's fine. He's doing so good. He's doing really good. Despite throwing those interceptions, Williams connected on multiple big plays, including a middle-range catch and run by Olamide Zaccheaus. Sounds like a big play. Have I ever heard one? Boy, a middle-range catch and run? Boy, oh boy. And a deep touchdown to tight end Cole Kmet. Really, really well done. As for the rookie class, also a banger of a GM that they've got over there. No newcomer has made a huge splash play yet as they try to blend in rather than stand out. That's the spirit, boys. Third-round offensive tackle Ozzie Trapillo, 56th overall, initially worked with the third team offensive line. Undrafted wide receiver Jade Walker turned heads with a highlight grab. There you go. You got one. A UDFA. Really good. This is it. This is my freaking favorite. On the flip side, 7th-round running back Kyle Monangai had a welcome to the NFL moment when running backs coach Eric Bieniemy scolded him for running like an old bleep man after Monangai rolled his ankle and slowed up during the drill. So, you've got this guy who, first of all, it's hilarious. Because he is supposed to be, I think it's kind of half a joke, but they needed a running back. They didn't get one until the 7th round, but it's like, oh, he's going to be really good. He's going to be great. I saw the video. There's like 4 running backs to go before him. Bieniemy's fine with it. He goes through, rolls his ankle. Bieniemy, who can't buy a job, has worked his way all the way down to running backs coach because nobody can stand the freaking guy. And he swears at him and says he's running like an old man. Oh, it's the best. And then you got Ben Johnson. Guy's a superhero. Coach, the players are going to love him, I tell you. Coach Ben Johnson has set an intense tone. In one practice, he halted play to yell at the offense for breaking the huddle too slowly. Sounds like a classic Caleb Williams thing. That dude likes to take naps during plays. Breaking the huddle too slowly and showing confusion lining up, Johnson demanded they pick up the pace, emphasizing that fatigue is no excuse for mental lapses. Quote, there's a certain way the play needs to get communicated, and if it doesn't sound that way, then we're just not going to allow the practice to go south. He stressed that mental toughness must kick in as players get tired. This attention to detail has been a theme of Johnson's practices as he installs his new system. Well, good luck with that tough guy routine. We'll see how that plays out. Couple of the injuries to keep track of. Left tackle Braxton Jones is ahead of schedule in rehab for a fractured ankle he suffered last season, but is expected to miss the entire offseason program. Could begin training camp on the PUP list. Top draft pick Colson Loveland, tight end, rehabbing his shoulder surgery. He has not practiced yet. He's on track to be 100% by training camp. Luther Burden suffered a soft tissue injury during rookie minicamp and has been held out of OTAs with no firm timetable. Kyler Gordon, Terrell Smith, and Elijah Hicks were also absent and inactive during the media open practice, which could indicate minor injuries or precautionary rest. Another young defender, defensive tackle, Zach Pickens, was held out as well. It's a great start. Off to a really good start. Some of the competition, left tackle, Braxton Jones is going to be in a bit of a competition for sure. They got Karan Amagaji from last year. Even when they drafted him, he was seen as sort of a developmental guy. So it's year 2 now is when you're supposed to kind of step up. And then, of course, Ozzie Trapillo, who they drafted. Coach Johnson indicated they'll continue to rotate the young tackles until somebody separates themselves. He also said that they are not moving Darnell Wright to the left side, which makes sense. Also, on the defensive side, the front 7, Bears front 7 rotations are still in flux under Dennis Allen. At edge rusher, veteran Yannick Ngakoue, trash, has been lining up opposite Montez Sweat on first down scenarios with 2022 draftee Trevis Gibson rotating in on passing downs. The defensive tackle spots see newcomer Grady Jarrett, trash, and Andrew Billings, garbage, anchoring the first team. Jarrett, a seasoned vet, has also taken on a mentorship role with rookie defensive tackle Shamar Turner. Jarrett noted Turner initially seemed a bit starstruck Wow. Yeah, you're also Hollywood, aren't you? What do you think of the rookie? Well, he was starstruck when he saw me. Me and Caleb are so cool. We're like besties now. But anywho, that's about it for that. I think what we're going to do, because the calls for Packernet After Dark have been coming in a little sluggishly, is we're just going to do sort of the third segment is a little Packernet After Dark. Once these start to pick up, then we'll get back to doing a Packernet After Dark show. But for now, this is what we're going to do. Take a break. We'll be right back.
What's going on? This is from Cleveland, Ohio. I'm here with my little brother Luke. Say
What's up?
hi.
Hi.
What's up, dude?
And today, for Memorial Day, we are going fishing. Going to catch some big bass with a bunch of new lures and rods and all that we're excited to use. And we live in Ohio, so it's not the best fishing spot, but we're going to have some fun. And then we're going to go back and I think we're grilling some ribs tonight, so that's going to be good. And yeah, that's what
I went to the store today and saw ribs, and I was like, we should do ribs. We should do ribs. And I got pork chops, and I got ground beef, and then I just got some chicken. So I'll be doing that for a little bit, but we got to do ribs real soon. I think it's got to be next. I've been good. Not that ribs are expensive at all. They're really not that bad. Maybe $10 for a rack of ribs. You can get 2 for $20, 3 for whatever. But still, I've been trying to stick to the cheaper stuff, and I think ribs they got to be coming up, man. We got to do something. Maybe it'll be a treat for some kind of a freaking milestone. I don't know what it'll be, but we got to figure something out. I miss ribs so much.
we're doing for Memorial Day, waiting for the Packers season to start. Mandatory mini camps are coming up. So
also, I got the new drum. I got the Oklahoma Joe drum, the big Papa, and it comes with like the hooks so you can hang the ribs, which I don't know if that's better or not, but I love it.
Excited for that, and yeah, that's what we got going on.
That's awesome, dude. Hope you guys had a good fishing trip. That just sounds like a perfect day. Going out fishing on the lake, come home, ribs, bro. That's money.
Hey, what's going on? Ryan, Chris from Alabama.
What's up, dude?
Been a minute since I've been called in, I should say. But I have been listening. I'm actually a podcast or two behind, but I know we've been having this good old playoff seeding debate. Yep. And it's actually very entertaining. So I just called in to give my 2 cents on it. I've been listening. I'm kind of like leaning more towards what you're saying about the seeding, but I also can understand about the importance of the division. Mm-hmm. So I propose that if the division winner so happens to still get in, let's just say, okay, you win your division, you're 9-8. We got a 12-5 wild card team, 10-7 wild card team, whatever you may put it. I'll say instead of that division winner with that 9-8 record getting that 4th seed,
yep,
they can get in the playoffs. But if they're 9-8 and we got an 11-6 and a 10-7 team that's got a better record, they get it's by seeding by record. Division you still get in, but you're like the 7th seed. If you're an 8-9 or 9-8 win team and you win your division, congratulations, you get in the playoffs. But you're not getting the home game. That's the only thing that I have a problem with as far as...
Yeah, somebody else called in with that, and then Mr. Numberman suggested that also on Patreon. I'm all for that, especially since, again, when I went back and looked at it, it's going to be probably the same teams no matter what. Now that we have 7 teams getting in, it's pretty rare that there's going to be a team that gets left off. And if it is, let's just say that 8 and 9 team does win the division. As much as that's bullcrap and they shouldn't get in and all that, they're not going to bump a 12-win team. A 12-win team is getting in. They're more than likely going to bump a 9-8 team. Big frickin' deal, right? At that point, I'm with you. You won the division, the other team didn't. Whatever. I don't frickin' care. If we can do the thing where if you win the division, you're in, and we seed differently based on record, and then, down from there, however the tiebreakers work, I'm all for that. And you could even make division winner the top tiebreaker. You know what I mean? So if there's two 12-win teams, one won the division, the other one didn't, even if they're not in the same division, if you want to make that a major priority, that's fine. That can be the number one priority. So there's the compromise. It's the number two, or it's the number one tiebreaker is, record is number one. First tiebreaker is division winner. And then also, all division winners make the playoffs. But an 8-win team is not going to be a 4 seed, while a 14-win team is a 5 seed on the road. And again, I there's no reason not to have that as a compromise, because in almost all situations, the exact same 7 teams are getting in, or 14 teams are getting in, and any team that gets left out is going to be a bad team. Probably going to be a 9-win team. Maybe in some weird, twisted scenario, it's a 10-win team. I don't know. And again, it wouldn't be my preference that they are out, but whatever. I'm more than happy to accept that as a compromise.
The playoffs go like when they had the 8-9 Tampa Bay team. It has to host a 12-5 team. Like, if a team wins 12 wins, I just feel like you should deserve to get a home game. Because 9 times out of 10, 12 wins, you're going to have, at minimum, the 4th best record. You might have the 5th if it's a very good conference that year. Yeah. Kind of like last year was with Detroit at 15-2, Minnesota 14-3, and Philly and all those. I just think they can still get in. That way you keep the importance of the division and winning the division. But you don't deserve to get a home game if you only win 8 or 9 games just because you won a garbage division. Just have it. Congratulations, you're in the playoffs, but just know you're the 7th seed, so you're gonna have to go on the road and play whoever's the number 2 seed, whoever's got the 2nd best record in the league. Yeah. That's what I would do, because I feel like if you take out the division winner and just go by record, I mean, you might as well take out the division. I mean, you might as well just have conferences. That's just my opinion.
Part 2, and again, I'm all for it. Let's do it.
All right. I got caught by the 3-headed monster like I normally do. But as I was saying, another thing that we could probably do, you probably wouldn't agree with it because it would kind of dilute what you were saying about the 8-win teams being in the playoffs. I would say another thing they can do is go ahead and just make it half the league gets into the playoffs. 8 AFC teams, 8 NFC teams, take away the bye, 1 through 8, battle it out all the way to Super Bowl. Now, like I said, that probably dilutes what you were saying, because in that scenario, you're definitely going to have an 8-win team, if not 2 8-win teams in the playoffs, because, you'll definitely have the division winner in the playoffs in that scenario. Same scenario, no home game, win the playoff 9-8, congratulations, you get in. But I'm pretty sure it's going to be an 8-9 team that gets in that scenario, because there's already 9 and 8 teams getting in, and 8-9 teams getting in with the 7 teams. So I don't know how you feel about that. That could be another option, and that takes the value away from getting the number 1 seed to get the bye. But that's just another thing that they might can do. That was just something I was throwing out there. If they did it, I wouldn't be mad. If they didn't do it, I wouldn't be mad either way. But yeah, man, you want to keep the division. Let's keep the divisions. Battle out the division the same way. Everything is pretty much the same. The only difference will be that team that won a garbage division with a 9-win record or an 8-win record, you don't get no home game. I just feel like you don't deserve a home game. That was always my pet peeve. It's like, why is this team?
And that was the whole thing too, where it's like, this really only becomes a big deal when that bad team gets in and gets a home game. That's the only time it becomes like, dude, there's something broken here. So if we just fix that, again, I would rather they don't go to the playoffs at all because they didn't deserve it. But at the very least, you're putting them up on this pedestal as the number 4 seed. That some 13-win team has to go to their house? No, screw you, dude. I'm sorry. No.
That's 8-9 8-9 or 9-8, why do they get a home game over a team that won 11 and 12 games? So that's crazy to me. That's the only difference that I would make. But anyway, that was my 2 cents. Like I said, I've been enjoying the back and forth, the debate. It's actually very entertaining at this moment where not a whole lot going on, I should say.
Yeah.
And if we can keep it up, maybe we can keep it up, and next thing you know, we turn around, it'll be training camp time. But go Pack Go. I'll talk to y'all later.
By the way, for those of you that are not regular listeners to After Dark, 608-501-0718, you can call in and talk about literally whatever you want. Try to prefer would be Packers. There are a couple other topics that are in the preferred category that are not Packers, but I'll let you figure that out on your own. New callers, go directly to the front of the line. Love to hear from you. You know, the other thing, this is probably a terrible idea, and it would actually lead to tanking, but I just thought it would be kind of funny. What if they did do like a toilet bowl, like in fantasy football, where you had, you know, the half of the teams, and I wouldn't really want to add the 8 games, because again, I do like the number 1 seed thing where you get to buy it. That last little push by the premier teams to try to be that team to get the number 1 seed is also something else to strive for when you're kind of in range. It's not just, well, we're going to get the 2 or 3 or whatever. We get a home field. Home field is good enough kind of thing. I kind of like that. And then also, we've got so many teams, like you were saying, with 7 teams per conference, you're pretty much getting all the 10-plus win teams. Again, there's probably some weird, twisted scenario, especially because of the stupid division winner thing. If that wasn't a thing, there would be no 10 wins that don't get in. But pretty much all the 10-win teams are getting in, and that's really all that matters. If you don't get the 10 wins, I don't really care. I don't need the sob story. So if we add another game where it's 8-8, we are just adding 8-win teams. That's really all we're doing. Possibly even a 7-win team would sneak in, which would be even worse. But it would be kind of funny to do sort of a toilet bowl. My first thought, again, was you could do that for draft position, but then it would be, I think that's where you could absolutely see some tanking. Now you've got a 9-win team that loses out in the toilet bowl and gets the number 1 seed. I wouldn't want to do that, but it would be fun. I don't know what you would do it for. Nobody would want to do it. It would just be entertaining for me. All right, we got one more from Chris, and then we'll get out of here.
What's going on, Ryan? Chris from Alabama. I had one more thought.
Yep.
About the rivalry aspect of this deal. I don't think if you were to get rid of like the divisions, or get rid of the divisional winner getting into the playoff deal, I don't think that would dilute the rivalries.
Yeah.
Maybe if this was a younger league.
Right. I mean, if you started a league today and you just said, these are the teams that are in your division, and you played them once per year, I mean, I still think there would be a rivalry that would build up over time. I mean, there's just something about being like designated as your rivals, but it might be lesser so. But these are still teams you're going to play every year. You know them to be your rivals, so it's going to be a thing. It's going to be a lot of trash talk. It's going to build over time. But yeah, looking at it now, this is where I just, everybody's talking about, it's going to get rid of the rivalry. There's no point in having a division. I disagree. I think we should do it my way and keep the divisions and play them twice a year, and we're going to continue hating each other. There's no world in which we get rid of the way the playoffs work and suddenly the Bears and the Vikings and the Lions are not rivals anymore. That's just not how that works.
It probably would, but like this late in the game, like as long as the NFL has been around, as long as majority of these teams have been around, you only see the Bears, Vikings, and Lions one time a year. I mean, when you play them, you're going to want to beat them. You're still going to have the fanfare going back and forth. If Bears play the Packers, it's still going to be the Bears still suck, and then the Bears fans are going to be saying the Packers suck, and all the other rivalries. Pittsburgh, Baltimore is still going to be a thing, and it might create new rivalries, or like the miniature rivalries, I would say. It's kind of like, let's say, Packers 49ers been a thing.
Yep.
Most Packer fans, including myself, can't stand the 49ers. When we play the 49ers, I want to beat the crap out the 49ers. So if we end up playing the 49ers every year or battling for first or second or third seed by record, I mean, that might amplify that rivalry. Or the 49ers, Cowboys, or the Bills and the Chiefs, or vice versa. I don't think it would dilute the rivalries. Yeah, you probably would miss 2 games a year versus those teams. That would kind of be, I guess, upsetting if you want to say that. But I don't think it would dilute it. That was the only other thing I wanted to add. But go Pack Go, and I'll talk to y'all later.
Yeah, I agree. I didn't think that was the most convincing of arguments. But again, a lot of this just comes down to perspective, and I don't know if people are just saying things because they're fishing for reasons, or if this is genuinely how they view the NFL. That, you know, the basis of the rivalry aspect is simply the fact that we're trying to compete with them for a playoff spot. If that's the entirety of how you viewed the NFL this entire time, then yeah, that makes sense. That's not how I viewed it. That's not how I thought anybody viewed it. So the whole thing seems silly to me, but I don't know how other people view stuff, and maybe that is how people have viewed it. Maybe I'm the odd man out. I have no idea. But anyway, appreciate you guys, Carson and Chris. Hope you all had a good Memorial Day and whatnot. I'm going to get out of here. Again, as long as the calls stay kind of lower, we'll just continue doing it this way. We've only got 4 calls, so that'll be enough for tomorrow probably. But if we start ramping them up, we'll get Packernet After Dark back on the docket. But anyways, you guys have a good rest of your day. I will talk to you tomorrow. Have a good one. Bye-bye.